Well, as the Olympics continue and we watch some amazing athletes at their best, it is our privilege today to welcome a Canadian women's national volleyball player, Brie King, to the show to talk about her sport and her faith. Welcome, Brie. Thanks for being here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, our pleasure. And you and I share a passion. It's a passion for volleyball. So just talk a little bit about how you got into that and why you love it so much.
Yeah, I got into volleyball because my older siblings all played, and my sister actually played for Trinity Western, and she played for our national team as well. So she was 9 years older than me. So I sort of just saw what she was doing and was all about it, and in the gym all the time, playing around with the ball. So yeah, it was kind of a natural progression in the family, I guess, for me.
Yeah, so and you're a setter, and I know that that's the brains. Don't tell anyone else, but that's the brains of the team. But so you're a setter, a volleyball player, but you also have a strong faith. So talk to me about how your faith has impacted your life as an athlete.
Yeah, I think my faith obviously has impacted every part of my life, and volleyball is a huge part of it. So of course it affects it as well. And I think being an athlete, especially at a really competitive elite level, is you're kind of immersed in this extremely selfish environment all the time, where everyone's trying to be the best and be better than each other, and win as much as you can and succeed as much as possible. And that isn't really what I'm about per se for my whole life. And having a clear set of values that can permeate into how I play volleyball and how I compete, and without letting it take away from the sport and the competitive nature. I think just balancing that I want to be about something totally different than a lot of athletes want to be about, and letting that affect how I play and affect how I talk and act, and how I prioritize like volleyball over everything else in my life. So I'm nowhere near where I want to be. And I think slowly, as I get to a higher and higher level, I'm having to figure out more and more how much it really matters to stay close to Jesus as you achieve more success, because it's really tempting to just sort of feel like you can do it with just your skill or talent or whatever. But yeah, it affects everything, and I'm hoping it continues to affect me even more.
Oh, I love that attitude. Because again, we know that it's so easy in this world to be caught up in the expectations others place on us or expectations we put on ourselves. And you've remained rooted in who Christ has called you to be, which I love, because you are a great athlete too. I've watched you play, and you're a fantastic athlete. Now, answer me this: you recently had an opportunity to play professionally in Turkey, but you chose instead to play with Athletes Unlimited. Tell us about that opportunity and why you made that choice.
Yeah, there's leagues all over the world that you can go play in. Fortunately, up until this past year, there hasn't been anything in North America at a high level. So you kind of always have to decide which country in Europe or Asia or wherever you're going to go play. And there's different levels of leagues, and Turkey's one of the best, and it's kind of a dream of mine to play in. And I got an offer to play there about a year ago, and I really wanted to go at first. Initially, I was like, I have to do this. This is like the no-brainer for my career. And you kind of have to just keep building as a professional athlete and improving on the leagues you're playing in. But they wanted me to be there for like over 10 months of the year, which is even longer than it usually is. And I'm married, and I have a church family back home. My husband's a pastor. So I'm super, super connected to what's going on in my life back at home as well. So being away for half the year is already really difficult. So extending that, I was like selfishly really wanting to go. And I had a lot of people speak into my life, including my husband at the time. And kind of just together, we decided that if I'm going to chase after this Olympic dream and be away playing professionally a few years in a row, we kind of have to ground ourselves and really come together and figure out how are we going to do this in a way that honors our marriage first and foremost, because it's really difficult. Obviously, we're away apart from each other a lot of the year. So I kind of came to this decision that me going to Turkey was in a way putting my marriage second to volleyball in that particular time. And I was just not okay with that. And even though it seemed like tempting, so I said no. And then the next day I got an offer to play in a shorter league in the US for this like trial run of a new professional league there. And it was the best thing that could have ever happened. And I'm really thankful that God sort of helped us direct the path there, because I was definitely leaning towards going for a while there.
I love that. That's so inspiring because I think when it comes to athletics, athletes know you have to set priorities. But when it comes to faith, sometimes we don't have the same diligence to set the priorities around our faith, which really is who we truly are. And I love that and respect that so much. So, in addition to athletics, you also have a passion to reach others. You talked a little bit about this already with the gospel. So, tell us about the church you and your husband started and why you did that.
Yeah, our church is called The Way. It's in Vancouver. It's about a year old now, mostly online so far. And we decided to do it because a lot of culture is like formed in the heart of the city, and I grew up in the suburbs of Vancouver my whole life, and it's, I would say, in a lot of ways easier to follow Jesus in that particular area than it is right downtown Vancouver. There's just so much. It's just really loud, and a lot of beliefs and opinions, and a real openness to God and faith, but just like a ton of lost people in the city. And I train out of Vancouver for volleyball. We are at the Olympic Oval in Richmond. So it was really nice to be in a community where I already am having most of my life, and then trying to reach people in that same community. So yeah, it's been amazing. I am like a huge evangelist at heart. It's really a lot easier for me to be around non-Christians in a lot of ways. And I just love just spreading the good news in a real authentic way. And I think The Way has been a real easy way for me to do that, and a community of people that are so authentically following Jesus and want to bring hope to the city and are so aware of our own need for the Lord. I think that's my favorite thing about this community, is just there's like a real dependence and hunger for God. And yeah, so that's kind of been this first year of being a church for us, is just figuring out how to do this and how to reach Vancouver. None of us are from Vancouver, so we all moved into the city. And yeah, so it's been awesome. Huge part of my life that I try my best to maintain and stay connected to, even when I'm overseas.
Well, thank you for your passion for Jesus. It's so inspiring. And thank you so much for sharing a bit of your story with us today. We're cheering you on.
Thanks.